framework for understanding human behavior and facilitating personal development. So there is a very big relationship there because Maslow, it motivates. Person-centered explains how we can support growth. And then the personal shield, it is exploring the needs. So there is a relationship among the three. They can work together very well. The hierarchy, the person-centered, and the personal shield. If I may say something there before anyone can continue, when we talk of the personal shield, it has the components. It has 4 parts. The most important person, the greatest achievement, greatest ambition, and the greatest fear. So when we are looking at that personal shield, it is exploring our needs. What do we really need? When now person-centered is telling us what you need is within you. So when you look at the personal shield, and when you look at person-centered is trying to motivate you and tell you, you can still make it. There is what there is in you. So person-centered is talking the person. And then these other things are talking about the things you can achieve as a person if only you believe in yourself. That's how I also pick it. I don't know whether there is anyone else with a different perspective. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Judy. Anybody else? Anybody else who can give an input on that? Anyone else? I'd want to hear.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
allow me to.
Let me mute.
Can I go ahead? Okay. I want to share the relationship between the personal shield, person-centered therapy, and Maslow's hierarchy. So it just says very briefly that the personal shield is an expressive art therapy intervention that bridges Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the PCT. So here, clients map out their core values, strengths, and support systems across the 4 quadrants of a visual shield. The integration of the personal shield exercise within the Maslow PCT framework operates across several therapeutic dimensions. So I was looking for the relationship between the 3 of them. And so I see that the personal shield is bridging the PCT and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I just want to not go very deep into it. That's what I'll share for now.
Thank you very much. So you can see there is a relationship. I think during your free time, so that you can pick it better and deeper, like you have said, if you go deeper, you might take a lot of time. Let's try to see the relationship well and align that well. Look at person-centered, look at Maslow, write what it says, look at personal shield, what it says, and then you try to check the relationship. How are they related, and how can one affect the other? Person-centered is a theory. All of these are like theories, but this one we saw it's like David, you said the personal shield is a what? There is a word you have used there. It's a something. There is a word you used there. Can't remember.
A bridge.
Huh?
He said it like personal shield, it bridges the two, the PCT and the
And
hierarchy.
then, yes, but there is a word, there are grammatic something. I don't know, an
It says
expressive. Eh?
it says that the personal shield
Eh.
is expressive art therapy.
Very good. Thank you. Personal shield is an expressive art therapy. I like that. And this expressive art therapy, you are expressing yourself. And I was saying, when you are expressing yourself in this now, for example, your greatest achievement, what makes you achieve? If you go to the person centered therapy, you are going to see the actualizing tendencies, the conditions of worth, the unconditional acceptance. Yeah, they can come there. Mm. When you want to be yourself, when you want to achieve this, you must go there to person centered. Anyway, we can take long, but I think we have been able to explain it. Is there anyone who had something else before we move on? Is there anyone? Yes.
Hello.
There is Dixon. Yes, Dixon, we are here waiting.
Okay. What I can say is about also the self concept, tying it to the self concept, because these are tools, the personal shield and the Maslow's hierarchy. They are tools actually, I think, that help to realize your self concept so that you have the real self concept. Your ideal self, your self esteem, and your self image are not clashing, they are congruent. So these tools help to identify the client, whether, like in the Maslow's hierarchy, do they need physiological needs, or do they need safety and security? Do they need love and belonging, so that now they can self actualize? Thank you.
A relationship. In fact, even that Maslow hierarchy of needs has self-actualization. A word used. In fact, even Carl Rogers uses it as a theory. We shall be briefly be talking about that. Thank you. That's powerful. Dixon, that's also powerful. You have said PD tools and Maslow, they are tools that help us to explore our self-concept. That is, and when we are exploring our self-concept, we are not forgetting there is self-esteem there. Self-esteem. And we can see it in Carl Rogers because he talks of the self-concept and we did it as a concept also. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone else with another input before we move on? I'm liking that. It's part of learning. Whatever we are doing is part of a recap of what we did. Okay, having said that, I want us to go to something I call Carl Rogers' 6 necessary conditions for personality change. There are 6 conditions that we do require as human beings so that our personality can change. And I want to hear from you, just an input, to get an input from you. When we talk of personality change, what is this that we need to do according to what we did yesterday? Before I give the points, what is this that we need to do to change our personality? Because there are things in us that we need to change. What is this that we can do? Yes, I can give. We can have. It's not part of the points I just wanted to you to give me. You do what we call acceptance, self-acceptance. When we accept, yes, self-awareness. Thank you, thank you. Self-awareness is also key. Self-acceptance. Remember what we did in red. We talked of USA. unconditional self-acceptance. If you need your personality change, you have to accept yourself unconditionally. Don't give yourself so many conditions. Just accept yourself the way you are, and all will be okay. So we shall be tackling that. The 6 conditions that we do require for personality change. And the first one is called psychological contact. We have something we call psychological contact. Anybody who can guess what that one means as far as the person is concerned? Psychological contact. Psychological contact is one of it. Now, this one exists. It's something that exists when a client and a therapist are aware of each other and are able to communicate and relate in a meaningful way. So I'm assuming you are in therapy, and in therapy we have the therapist and we also have the client. So if there is a psychological contact, it appears the client and the therapist, they are aware, we are here, we are here. We can communicate, we can relate. I'm using those words. We are here, yes. We can communicate, we can relate. So we are here. And not only communicating and relating in a good way or in a meaningful way. So it means these two individuals are emotionally and psychologically present in the therapeutic relationship. They are psychologically and emotionally. I want to give an example. When you get into a therapy room and invite the client for therapy, welcome, my name is this, we are here so that we can talk to each other. Can you see now? Now that shows that you are emotionally with that person, because you are not telling that client you have come so that I can give you counseling. No. We are here together. Together we can, and the therapy session is going to take this. And this session is basically your session, and I'll be helping you to facilitate the session, but together we are going to move this journey, or we are going to go for this journey together. In such a thing, the client feels emotionally good and psychologically good. You are dealing like you are in the same place. Carl Rogers called this, you are in the same wavelength. You are in the same wavelength. Nobody is bigger than the other. Yes. And there is something, when he talks of wavelength, he is talking of you are recognizing each other. You are recognizing the client, and the client is also recognizing you. There is a level of connection or interaction between the two of you. And both of you are really engaged in the relationship. The relationship is not the client alone. The relationship belongs to both of you. And when this happens, Roger says that this psychological contact forms the foundation for all the other therapeutic conditions. When you are able to engage the client psychologically, it forms the foundation for the all therapeutic conditions. Because this person now feels, I'm here and I'm taken care of, I'm not alone, this journey is there for the two of us, and so forth. I want to give an example I saw. They say a client attends counseling and is able to talk with the therapist about their experiences, while the therapist listens and responds attentively. This mutual engagement demonstrates psychological contact. I hope you pick that. So this is a client who has come for therapy, and the conditions or the environment you have given this client, they are able now to share very well. And on the other hand, you listen and respond. There, he says this mutual engagement, meaning the client is active, the therapist is active. It is very, very important, and it forms the psychological contact. And additionally, it says when this psychological contact does not occur in any counseling, because there is no, yesterday we talked about a therapeutic relationship. In other words, we call it therapeutic alliance. If there is no effective psychological contact, counseling is never effective. The therapy is not meaningful, and the relationship between the client and the therapist is actually blurred. It's not actually actualized. So that's what we mean by psychological contact in counseling. Any question? As far as that is concerned, any query? Patwagu, any question? Is it clear?
Yes.
Muko,
Tuko teacher.
I'm wondering whether this teacher is alone. But I know I'm not alone. You are here with me. Okay.
Teacher, can you, when we on the stages of counseling, that one for relationship building, is it zinafanana na hii?
In a psychological contact. You're asking whether they resemble. Come again?
Yes. Because I kind of see a similarity. It's like you're almost building a connection.
Are you really building a connection, or can somebody help there? Is there a connection between building rapport and psychological contact?
I don't think so.
There is no, they are not the same. They are not. And somebody said before I chip in.
I'm saying there is okay. What I'm trying to say is that there is what we call now. You see, there must be that relationship. So when and how do you bring that relationship? I think there must be a rapport. Yeah. So because there must be the meaning, there must be a meaningful relationship for both. Because it is true, it should be the genuine, and again also for both therapists and the clients are emotionally present, aware of each other, and willing to engage in a therapeutic process. So that means there must be a rapport. You must bring this client to par. You must win this client.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you. I also feel a rapport comes before this psychological contact. I feel the therapy is like it has commenced. And somebody can check for us. Between the rapport and psychological contact, which one comes first? So that we don't say they are the same and they are not. Because
Teacher,
according to yes?
I think rapport comes first because before psychological contact, you will have to build connection with the client, and then the client trusts you, and then they are free to share their issues with you. Yeah. So after that it's when now psychological contact comes.
Yes.
because you cannot share your issues. You cannot connect psychologically with a person that you do not trust and a person that you have not had several interactions with. Yeah.
Do you agree with Marianne? Yes. Do you agree with her? Yes, thank you. So rapport comes first. And when we are talking of the rapport building is when we are explaining what counseling is, what counseling is not, the contract, the number of sessions, all those. But now when it comes to the psychological contact, there is an engagement. We have seen there is an engagement. So already, you have already set the precedence. Yes, David, you have raised your hand. Let's hear.
There's something I'd like to share. So I have dug a little bit, and it says that building rapport and psychological contact are not the same thing, though they are closely related concepts in psychology and counseling. Psychological contact is a foundational prerequisite, while building rapport is the broader ongoing process of developing that connection into a trusting relationship. Did you get? Yes.
Yes. So rapport is broader, while psychological contact is within the rapport. Are you saying that?
Yes, it is the foundation. It is where the rapport stems from. Yes.
Okay, it's where the rapport came from. See there?
Yes.
Yes. So it's within. So the rapport is the broader one, and it continues up to the end of the therapy. That's what you mean, Davis?
Yes, exactly.
If I picked correctly, the rapport will run from the beginning to the end. And now, within that rapport, the psychological contact comes in. So seamlessly, they are not the same. There is a thin line between the two, and not a thin one. In fact, because one is an umbrella, the other one is the other one. Thank you. I think that one is better. It's good also to differentiate these words. They can be sometimes very hectic. Thank you. Anybody else with a different input on that, or we can move on? We are doing well. So that was the first necessary condition. So we go to the next one. It is called client incongruence. This is where the client is experiencing anxiety and vulnerability. And when this client is experiencing these uncomfortable things, or a state of incongruence between their image and their actual experience. So this condition is quite necessary because for personality change, because these clients require the counselor to bring into the limelight in a good way to show where the incongruence is so that they can change as persons. Because when a person has incongruence, change cannot occur. Change cannot occur. When this client is torn in between, they are saying this and they are confusing it with another, or they are in a state of confusion, things become very, very serious. And this client cannot grow. The personality change cannot be experienced. Marianne, I saw your hand.
I'm sorry. I wanted to add on the psychological contact, but ukawa umeendelea.
Okay, just say. I'll come back to incongruence.
Okay, so psychological contact is the minimum level of connection needed for two people to influence each other meaningfully. And rapport is a deeper, positive, harmonious connection that makes communication smooth, trusting, and cooperative. Yeah.
Thank you. So, right, Devi has said it goes throughout the therapy session. It's deeper. But now this one is just a relationship where we are influencing one another, but the other one runs across. Thank you. When I'll be giving those notes, I will make sure that I differentiate very well so that it becomes clear. But you have brought also a new input there saying that it's where two people are in a relationship, and I think I also have it here, and they influence or they have impact on each other. Thank you. So the second point we were talking about was current incongruence. This one can deter personality change in the sense that when this client is experiencing anxiety and they are not able to come in touch with that anxiety, or they are vulnerable, or they have the incongruence between self-image and actual experience, they cannot realize growth. A person who is in conflict, a person who has two things that are running concurrently, and they have a difference in that person, may deter that person psychological, physical, or emotional change. That's what it means by incongruent. So sometimes our clients can be very incongruent. They are saying this, and whatever they are saying is not matching with the other. They tell you that I hate myself, or I love myself, and at the same time, they don't actually feel like this is very true. So they are torn in between. They are not clear about themselves. That one brings a lot of incongruence, and personality change may never occur in that person. Growth may never occur. So when dealing with the client, let them be very clear on what they are saying. Listen to them to understand. Listen to what they are saying. Listen to what you can see physically so that you can be able to help them work on their incongruences. People do not know they are incongruent. They are saying this, and it's not what there is. To help those clients. The other necessary condition for personality change that we need to work on and help the client is that one now is on the side of the therapist. It's called therapist congruence. For a session or for a client to work effectively, they need to. So sorry. So I'm talking of therapist congruence. This is where the therapist should be genuine and authentic in regards to what they are sharing in therapy. If this is not happen, if this does not happen in any therapy session, the client is likely to get confused because they don't know what to do and where to change because the therapist is not congruent or is not genuine. So as a therapist, when we are dealing with our clients, can we be genuine? Tell them. If you find that your client is not very, very open, tell them as we speak, as we started this session, it appears that most of the things that you have been telling me is concerning other people. If you don't mind, maybe you can share deeply about yourself. You know, clients can be talking about other people, and they are not talking about themselves. So the therapist has to be very genuine and tell them, tell me more about yourself. So that these clients wake up and develop high level of awareness, and in so doing, they can also change. So the therapist is also critical in that. The number 4, it's still on the side of the therapist, whereby the therapist has to use what we call unconditional positive regard in the therapy. So if this both sides, this one can work on the side of the client, the side of the counselor. If a therapist experiences warmth, and non-judgmental acceptance from the client, they can work together, and vice versa. It does not mean it's only the therapist, so the client who should be given UPR. Even the therapist can be given that so that the relationship can be good. I give an example. A client can come for therapy and they are so rude, very rude. You talk to them, they are very stubborn. You ask them a question, they even keep quiet or say they don't know. So on the side of the counselor, it may not work very well. Because even a counselor is a human being, they also need warmth. On the other hand, the clients also need warmth because they are also human beings. That's why I'm saying it should be vice versa. The fifth one, we call it emphatic understanding. So the therapist should employ emphatic understanding so that they understand the client's frame of reference. Like I said yesterday, when we understand the client's internal frame of reference, meaning their internal thoughts, we are able to read their internal thoughts and what they are really suffering by entering into the, we said, phenomenological world of the client. That is what we call. And they endeavor, the counselors now endeavor, or they work to communicate this to the client. It does miracles. I come again. This emphatic understanding is where you get into the client's frame of reference, which I can synonymously say it's the phenomenological world of the client. And when the therapist endeavors to communicate this, it works miracles for the client if it is communicated well. I don't know whether we can be able to get a statement whereby how emphatic understanding is done. Maybe we together we can try to see an example of a therapist showing emphatic understanding so that we pick it and we can be able to relate well.
I can try and read.
Yes.
Emphatic understanding in counseling means the therapy deeply grasps the client's feelings and experiences from their perspective, not just intellectually, but emotionally. Sorry. It is one of Carl Rogers' core conditions for effective therapy, and it comes after establishing physiological contact, helping build trust and rapport.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Deeper. I have an example here.
Teacher, me.
Yes, come, yeah. Go ahead.
So how emphatic understanding works? It involves three processes. That is perceiving the person's feelings and meaning. Number two is checking your understanding, not assuming. Yes. Number three is communicating that understanding back in the way they recognize as accurate. And then okay, yes. The other one I will share as we go.
Thank you. I have an example here of questions that shows that you have emphatic understanding, and yours are also welcome. Like now, the client can say, I feel like a failure because I didn't get the job. Then the therapist, you say, it sounds like you are feeling very disappointed and questioning your abilities because that opportunity was important to you. That is emphatic understanding. When this client says, I feel like a failure, so emphatically, the therapist now paraphrases and says, it sounds, no, what the therapist is saying, it sounds like you are feeling very disappointed. Not that the client said that, but the client said, I feel like a failure. So the counselor comes and says, it's like you are feeling very disappointed and questioning your abilities because that opportunity was important to you. And we are told when this one is done, it helps the client feel understood and accepted. In fact, and that is the main goal of Carl Rogers. He says, when we say words that makes the client feel valued and understood and accepted and not judged, it becomes very therapeutic. Thank you. Other people can chip in. Elizabeth is out. I was just also chipping in because we are working together in this. Anybody who gets a point, share,
Yes,
Pastor.
Teacher, I have an example.
Uh-huh.
For example, if a child says, my toy broke, you responding in emphatic understanding, you say, you are really upset because that toy meant a lot to you.
Very good. Thank you. Come again with that. It's a good one.
So I'm gonna, okay. Child, my toy broke. I'll give example. An emphatic response is like, okay, for example, if somebody is non-emphatic, you will say, it's just a toy. Stop crying. But emphatic understanding, you're really upset because that toy meant a lot to you.
Yes. Thank you. Good. That is called emphatic understanding. Don't show people that whatever they are crying for is not important. It must have left you with a lot of pain. And it appears that this toy was very, very significant or important to you. Don't tell them anything else. That one shows that you have really understood. You have gone into the phenomenological world and you are able now to understand them. You are in the same wavelength. Thank you. So let us not always be rebuking people when they say something like we feel it is senseless. It means a lot to them. Even a child, when they fail the exam and they come crying, it appears there is a lot of pain because you did not pass the exam as you expected. The child feels nice. Kwanza, when you use that word, did not pass the exam as you expected. Don't try to show them that there is no pain because it is there. Thank you. I hope you have now understood emphatic understanding in a good way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There are necessary conditions for personality change is a client's perception. Client's perception. So the way the client perceives things, we perceive things differently. If this client has a positive mindset and is taking things as what we call unconditional acceptance, they can be able to change the way they think, feel, and behave. So as therapists, let us try to work on the client's perceptions. Let us try to see how they view things. Let us also explore their belief systems. Let us try to explore their self-concept so that we see where they are. And this can only be done. If you want to understand the client's perception, give them unconditional acceptance. Allow them to be. Then you get to know where are they coming from, what do they believe in, what value have they given themselves, and so forth. Any other input on that? On perceptions? Can we look at that perception also on the side of the counselor, even the counselor's perception? We may have the client's perception, but also the way the counselor perceives the client is also very, very important. So whatever this client is experiencing and how the therapist is interpreting can do a lot in the personality change. If there is congruence and unconditional acceptance, then the client will feel safe and change may occur if their perceptions are not judged. So even the counselor's perception is very key, because a counselor might work in a judgmental manner. Are you sure it happened? Now you have perceived things differently. You have already judged them. So your perception is wrong, and it might influence the client's decisions. It might also affect the client's way of thinking and so forth. So let us be very, very careful on them so that we don't murder our clients when we are dealing with them in our therapies. I think as far as that is concerned, we can stop there for the 6 necessary conditions of personality change, and straight away we go, according to our timetable I have seen here, person-centered theory, self-concept model. That's where we are, the self-concept model. Because we have scholars with us, you can look at what is that model about. As I also give what I have. Sometimes it's also good to hear what people have before you chip in. Self-concept model. We look at it briefly. The theory, the advantage of this theory is it's not very long, not as confusing as the one for behavioral theory. The behavioral was a bit confusing because there were very many. This one, at least, things are being repeated, and only that they are coming from different perspectives and so forth. Let me start by saying what is self-concept so that we understand it. When we talk of the concept, this is the image we have about ourselves, the image. And when we talk of the image, it's the way we perceive ourselves. And it can be influenced by many forces. The image we have of ourselves can be influenced by many forces. And one of it can be interaction. So through interaction, people can influence your image. If they tell you you are not an achiever, it can influence your image and you see yourself as a very useless person, particularly when this interaction comes with the important people in our lives. If your mother calls you a non-achiever, it attacks your image very bad. And in fact, you become very dysfunctional. You no longer believe in yourself. And this can attack, you can have a fixation actually. A poor self-concept can bring a fixation in life. So another thing is in a self-concept, it's the way we perceive our behaviors. How do we see our behavior? There are people who are very analytical about themselves. They don't like the way they behave at all. It's also the way you perceive your abilities. It is also the way you perceive your unique characteristics. There are some people who are very, very critical about themselves. They don't see anything good about themselves. Their unique characteristics. In fact, there was a time I was almost like that. But when I did counseling, I have grown because I was not seen like I'm an important person. my concept was not very good. And I really continued working on it. And I said, I can do all things. And really, I did it. And saying the least, I have been able to achieve a few things because of the acceptance of my unique characteristics, even in my weaknesses. I have always told myself I'm not an angel. I can still make a mistake, and therefore I can move on. For example, beliefs such as I am a good are part of an overall person. We have been
Teacher, you have disappeared.
Yes, I said let me change something here. I have come. I was shifting from somewhere. I wanted to change my net from bundle to internet. That's why I'm saying, okay, self-concept, I've said it's the image we have about ourselves. And I have said it is actually influenced by many forces, including our interactions, particularly with important people in our lives. I've also added and said it's how we perceive our behaviors, our abilities, and unique characteristics. So check here. It's the image and the way we perceive. And what are we perceiving? Our behaviors, the way we behave, what we can be able to do, and our unique characteristics because we are all unique. And I gave an example and said, for example, you can believe I am a good friend. I am a kind person. They are part of the overall self-concept. On the other hand, you can say I am a bad friend. I'm not a kind person. They can also affect your self-concept heavily. And so for if that's what you believe, because self-concept is about also believing. If you believe, it comes into you very well. Okay, let me also add something before you chip in. Self-concept that individuals develop, it can be dynamic. You know, concepts can be dynamic. You cannot have a constant self-concept. It's very dynamic. It keeps on changing. Sometimes we feel good about ourselves, other times we feel bad. Yes, about ourselves. Sometimes our self-esteem is okay. Other time it is not okay. Sometimes our ideal self. So the self-concept keeps on changing. And because of that, it keeps influencing our behaviors because of the experiences and the social interactions we are passing through. So it cannot be constant. It can be dynamic, and it can change, and therefore it influences our behavior. You can, for example, find some people, one time they are very okay. They feel good about themselves. Other times they feel very bad about themselves. What is this that shaping their behavior? The experiences and the interactions. Go to a place where people really shun you off. They talk against you, they rebel against you, you are not appreciated at all. You try your best, let's say like a mother does everything, and then they are not accepted. They are likely to lose themselves. The self-concept becomes very distorted. Yeah, they become very distorted and they can suffer a lot. And there is a lot of incongruence. In fact, with a distorted self-concept, you have a lot of incongruences because things are not running in the right way. Good. What can you say there? Have you been able to understand, or you can add something there? Okay, let me just go ahead. Where you need to chip in after I'm through, you'll be able to do that. When we talk of the self-concept, we can try to look at the components of the self-concept, and one of it is self-image. That's how you see yourself. If you view yourself as a useless person, then you become. And this, the view of yourself can in here, how you see yourself physically, physical characteristics, social, and personality traits. There are people who see themselves as, after my body, I have this, my legs are big, and what are they? They will really affect your self-image. If you see yourself like that, I read another book by this man called J.G. Maxwell, and he said there are three things that affect a person totally, and they can crush you. And if you are not very careful, you may never be anything. And he talked about three things: the present environment, the past experiences, and the self-image. Self-image, the way you look at yourself. If you look at yourself like a useless person, a person who has no worth, then you also become that. So we have to be very, very, it is, in fact, he called it, I have even seen it. He has said, he talks about past experiences, present environment. In fact, the book was just here near me. I think I was recently reading this book. And then he talks about personal evaluation. And he says, let me read for you, you hear here. We tackle problems our own size. Big people tackle big problems, and small people tackle small problems. The better a person's self-image, the more willing he or she is to take a risk and handle a big problem. The more fragile a person's self-image, the less willing or the less willing she or he to tackle a big problem. Then he says, problems can stop you temporarily, but you can stop yourself permanently. So if your self-image is, and he, in fact, it's like he did Carl Rogers. If you evaluate yourself as a person of worth, then you begin to tackle big problems. Yes. Have you heard that? Yes. You can see how things can be. In fact, the book was there. I think I was reading that book recently. You know, these books, when you want to be a good counselor, read motivational books. They have a lot of counseling. And don't just read to pass through. I read noting because I think, because I saw this, I was able to, I normally put something somewhere so that when it is related to my counseling, it makes me delve deeper and understand. So that is self-image, and it comes under personal evaluation. The way you evaluate yourself, it makes you. Then the other one, the other component of self-concept is self-esteem. This is the value. The value you give yourself. How much value do you give yourself? So the value you attach to yourself makes you either hate yourself or like yourself. So let us value ourselves. You may not be a very good father. You are very quarrelsome, but you are still your father. Value is, don't hate yourself. Because you don't have money, you are nothing. Value yourself. You are the same person who gets money. Yeah. You know, some people attach their esteem to money. If you attach yourself to money, and when there is no money, what are you going to do? So let us value ourselves. The other one is ideal self, who you want to be. Who you want to be. You are aspiring to be a person of worth, the goals, the desires. So the ideal self is also very, very important. And because it gives us what we call additions. In the personal shield, the greatest addition, that falls at the ideal self. That's why I was saying there is a very big relationship among those things I was telling you: personal shield, macro, self-concept, and so forth. In fact, they are intertwined. They can give you a broader perspective in understanding the Carl Rogers. I can also, there is the body image. You know, just self-image is the way you see yourself. There is also the body image. The body image is the way you look at your body. Because mostly the self-image is basically on characteristics. So your body. For somebody was saying, he's saying something here. Well, the 5 invariable laws of growth. Joy, very good. Dixon, you are going to read for us. And you also tell us what are those 15 invariable laws. You can read a few. Ewe mkali sana. Thank you. Tatusomea. I'm finishing. So I said self-image is a component of self-concept. Self-esteem is another component. Ideal. I'm also adding the body image. And when it comes to esteem, I think I had read somewhere self-esteem can be inflated. You can have an inflated self-esteem. You can have low self-esteem. Inflated is the one you feel you are very important. When there is self-importance, you feel so important. Other people do not matter. You are the only one. This one, I also regard it as superiority complex. You feel superior. Also feeling very good about yourself is not very good. That one now ceases to be self-esteem and becomes pride. You become flawed without your knowledge. It's a flaw. Have you ever seen people? They go somewhere, they exaggerate. They exaggerate things. I'm this, I'm learned, I have this. And then it takes a lot of time. That one is an inflated self-esteem. And it can crush you. You have to be very careful. The id has now taken charge instead of the ego. Your ego is now becoming overwhelmed and you have become personal. So that is that. Okay, now let's hear the input of the 15. You may not read the 15, the 5 invariable rules of growth by John G. Maxwell. Tell us. Dixon, you can give us a few. We want to understand also.
Okay. It was someone asked what the book was. The book titled The Vimbao. So I researched it. It's the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 5. 1, the law of intentionality.
Mm-hmm.
Growth does not just happen. You must choose it.
Thank you.
2, the law of awareness. You must know yourself to grow yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Number 3, the law of the mirror. You
Mm-hmm.
must see value in yourself to add value to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yes.
law of reflection. Learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, the law of consistency. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing.
Mm.
Those are the ones.
Thank you. Yeah. Those ones can be enough. Thank you. Can you now relate the Maxwell with Carl Rogers? Can you see in Maxwell a lot of Carl Rogers traits? Are you able to see that?
Yes.
You can see a lot, eh? Yeah. Whatever he has said, actually, it's like it is Carl Rogers. So because I know we have very many scholars here, please read. Read more of him. Read more of that man, particularly the concepts that relate to counseling, so that you grow. Okay. Any other input? Help Elizabeth so that I don't dominate very much. I feel good when all other people also say something. I feel nice.
Yes, I wanted to give an input.
Yes.
Mostly to agree with this, the self-concept model about our self-image. I think it's something most of us struggle with. If that is a big assumption, I'd say personally, from my own experience and the people I've interacted with, because you may find someone is very, very good at something, but they wanajishuku sana. They just keep questioning themselves, their abilities. And when someone says something negative, if we don't have a good self-image, it can really crush us and make us not go for what we want in life. But if we have a strong self-image, if no matter what people say, we have that, we can easily move past what other people's perceptions of us are, especially the negative ones. And I think the self-image is something very, very key in life. I was just agreeing with what you said.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you. That's powerful. Many people have become average because they have relied on other people to determine their self-image. Yes. Okay, Mary Gure and somebody else have raised their hands. Please say something.
I think I relate so much with this concept. Sorry, I have a cold, but it's okay. Now, I can remember one time before I realized, although I didn't know about this concept, sometimes back when I was dealing with my self esteem. In fact, I used to wait for people just to confirm, to affirm me. But I started working on myself esteem. I had to Google and work on it, kabisa, so that I can start on my own. In fact, there's a time I could even put on a dress and I feel I'm not comfortable. I'm not, like I should not even talk before people. I should not even say anything. But I think it is true. We need to work. It is good. It is good that now I've known. And in fact, I can still say that this self-concept model, it is mostly found in kids. We have, as parents, we should check on that, because I think most of the kids that we have, the ones we have raised them, are the ones that we are raising, you find that whatever you tell them, it's just like we put an image on them, and most of the time they lack confidence just because of the whatever you have told them. So it relates.
Thank you very much. Self-image. Most of the people now are really coming there on self-image is key. In fact, it's what makes you, the way you perceive, the way you evaluate yourself. I like the Maxwell, he is saying personal evaluation. We tackle problems our own size. Big people tackle big problems, and small people tackle small problems. The better a person's self-image, the more willing to be, the more willing he or she is to take a risk and handle a big problem. So you can see the significance of a good self-image. Most of us are suffering because our images, self-images are very poor. Very, very poor. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, Mwalimu, I wanted to know that can one have a gap between their self-image and their ideal self? Is there a person who could be having such?
A gap between self-image and ideal.
Ideal self.
Yes, yes. Ideal is the person you want to be. Self-image is the way you see yourself. So the ideal may not match with the way you see yourself. Because the ideal is what you aspire. I aspire to be. No, no. And there is how I see it. What I aspire to be. Then the image is how I see myself. Are they raining? I would want myself to be like this. That is the ideal. Then, then you come to telling yourself, what are you? How are you seeing yourself? Are you seeing yourself like you have said? They can be. They can. They can very much. Because sometimes in life, there is what we aspire to be, and there is what we see. See, self-image is very realistic. Ideal is unrealistic because it's like it's like an imagination. You know, ideal is an imagination. Even C can be an imagination, but it's real because maybe you don't have the strength. You thought of it, but you don't have the strength to do what you thought about. I don't know whether I'm confusing you or helping you.
No, you're helping me, but I'm trying to think, could this, or if the gap could be bigger, could it bring anxiety?
Yes, yes. Thank you. It could bring a lot of anxiety. If the larger, the wider the gap, the more the anxiety. Actually, we talk about anxiety and psychological problems. Yes. The more the gap. You know, like now, our aspirations can make us crash because I I am planning or I'm thinking about who I want to be. I want to be this. Then it's not happening. So the wider the gap is, the more anxiety I may get. The more the anxiety, the more the psychological problems. So forth. I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else who can help?
Not even Mwalimu helping, yes?
Yes.
But I could relate this one with the gospel.
Yes.
Mark 16:15. No, Mark 8:29. You remember when Jesus was asking the disciples, when Jesus
At Mark,
was asking,
Mark what?
Mark 8:29
Mm-hmm.
or Matthew 16:15. You remember when Jesus was asking his disciples, what do people say? You know, it's like he was asking, he wanted to know what the members of the public they were saying, and it's like he was asking his disciples because the disciples were leaving these people, and then he was asking, who do you say I am? It is like he was asking, he wanted to know the feelings of the members of the public and the disciples too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was maybe the word that he was using just to identity.
The image now, eh?
Yes.
He wanted to know the image they had towards him, eh?
Yes.
Or the way they perceived him. Thank you. That's very important. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we are moving on well with this concept, and I can see most of us have seen it. Please look at yourself. If you have been downtrodden because your esteem or your image, you see yourself as maybe, you know, like these people. Let me say this. I used to work with a person when she got a child when she was young, but she was raped. And I think she developed a poor image or personal evaluation. She never gave birth to another child. She never got married, remained with. And this woman appeared very stigmatized. and her esteem was very low. So our image can also be affected by our experiences. But that does not mean we cannot go above what we experienced. Behavioral therapy talked about there is you learn, you can unlearn, and you can relearn. So there are things we say they did happen, yes, but they will not deter my progress. They will not. Yes, it happened. It did happen, and it made me feel pain. But let it not destroy me. Because most people are destroyed because of that. People are destroyed. In fact, we have people, they are still in the past, they are seated there. They have even taken a sofa set there. Hmm? They have sat there and they cannot get out of there. It is very serious. They cannot move above that. Psychologically, they are damaged. Let us try to help them that they can still move above the turbulences of life, and life can still make sense. In fact, we are deep seated. We are seated at the seabed, and the things are happening. We are rained on. Water is coming. And we are so wet in our hearts and in our minds. May God help us that our image will change. Let us also change other people's images. We are going to come across people who are really damaged emotionally. Let us try to move them from that damp site, dungeon. In fact, they're in the dungeon. The dungeon, they are there. Let's be like this. He was called a what? I think he was an Ethiopian eunuch. I don't know what type of a man he was. And I like reading it in Jeremiah. When Jeremiah was put in the dungeon, there is this man who said there is a man there, and he requested to remove that man of God from there. Let us take those scrolls, we put them in the dungeon, so that these people who are perishing there can get out of the dungeon. They are perishing. And most of us who are here in the dungeon, counseling has come so that you can get out of that dungeon and move on. However you are, the way you are, just get out the way you are and stand on your 2 feet. Okay.
Teacher, I have something.
Yes, say it, Mary.
How can you assist a teenager who is going through low self-esteem?
If you have a teenager going through low self-esteem, before you even give the solution, you don't first give the solution before you understand. You go deeper into the person's issue to get to know what is bringing this low self-esteem. Get the history of the boy, know where this boy is coming from, what is triggering this low self-esteem, and maybe from there you work from the trigger. Because you might look at the symptoms and work with the symptoms, but go deeper. Talk to him first or her. Get to understand what they are going through. Then from there, you can be able to assist. You can give them what we call a treatment plan. Yes.
Like now, maybe for clarification, this teen was in college and he was a class rep in college. And then he, at one point, they sat for a cut, and then when the lecturer now was giving the results, his results were there. But there are some students who did not have the results. So being the class rep, when he went to complain, the lecturer removed his marks and put for the others. Now he's feeling so down because he has failed now to graduate with the others. And remember, he was a class rep. How can you help such a person? Because now, I don't know whether it is self-esteem. Yeah, I think it's low self-esteem now.
What made the lecturer not put his marks?
Because
He
of
brought them
complaining,
late.
because of blaming, because of okay. Okay, the thing is, they had sat for a cut, and there are some students whose marks were missing. So he complained to the lecturer that the marks were missing. So he removed the marks for this guy, and now he put for the others. So that means now his records were incomplete. But his fellow colleagues, students, pupils, they graduated. So now this boy is so much down. How
So
can you help such a person?
he suffered because he was protecting other people. That's what he means.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
Now, first and foremost, I'll tell him whatever you did was correct because you are the class rep, but the consequences may be negative. But because this is what there is now, he has to agree and accept. Yes, this is what happened. You did good because you saved many people, but your work was not recognized by the authorities. And because it did happen, and this does not mean you never graduate, I think you just accept that it has happened, however painful it is. Because if you keep on now criticizing the lecturer and he starts talking about the way he has wasted his time, it's not helping him. In fact, use SFBT, Solution Focused Brief Therapy, and help him to work on what is there and work on his strengths, not the weaknesses. Yes, he did good. That work was good, but then he was misunderstood. I think you use emphatic understanding. Whatever you did was quite good, and your intention were good, and it's like you were misunderstood. But that does not mean you'll be misunderstood forever, so that he doesn't get stagnated there. I don't know. Other people
Yeah,
cannot help.
it's okay. I understand now. And now, at the same time, the guy is showing some signs of depression. Yes.
What is bringing the depression now? The exam, not doing the exam.
Yeah, not graduating.
Not graduating.
With the others, considering that he was their leader. Yes.
Tell him also from what we even get from real experiences, leaders suffer. Leaders suffer. Sometimes they suffer. But that does not mean they will suffer forever, because it does not mean because you are a leader, you always be successful. Just show him that these things are not abnormal. And if you get depression, it is you who is losing. The lecturer is not losing. Now become red and toward irrational thoughts. The lecturer is not losing. Those who graduated are not losing, but he is losing. So tell him what can be done differently. Now this happened. If you depress yourself and do not wake up and see what can be done, you start the rusa, because others are moving on. Wake up and move on. Your graduation will still come. When is the next graduation, by the way?
November.
Very good. How many months are those? The 4 months. 4 months. Tell him to start strong and tell him to eat and drink. Elijah, when he was dying there, he was said, wake up, eat and drink. The journey is very long. He doesn't know what God has kept for him. It doesn't mean that because they are ahead of him, They always be ahead of him in the future. No, God changes things. Just assure him that all will work. And at the same time, you don't know what had gone on. Maybe he talked rudely to the lecturer. You never know. No, these students are also others. You do. So equip him. Equip him, please. Equip him. Equip him. Tell him to look for something busy to do for those 4 months before the next graduation. Because there is nothing else you can do. And don't help him to dwell on the negative very much. And at the same time, don't cover the pain. Just affirm to him it is painful. But even if it is painful, you have to move on because that's not the end of the road. Kuvujika kwa mwiko, you have not reached the end. Just make him feel strong. I don't know whether that one is making some sense. Mary.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can now finish up this part so that when we, thank you, Mary, for sharing. So that today we have gone longer before our break, but let me finish this so that when we come, we shall have an excerpt. There is this, the tenets of self-concept theory. Self-concept is not innate, meaning you are not born with it, but it is learned. You learn it. It is organized and dynamic. So it has 3 things. It is learned, so it is not present at birth, but it develops through our experiences and our interactions. It is organized. People tend to protect their self-view. It is a structure, they have a structured perception of themselves. So self-concept is very organized. People tend to protect themselves in life. So it's organized. Then finally it is dynamic, meaning it changes and adapts based on new experiences. And that's why this boy is suffering, because the concept is now affected, dynamism has come. And this stage he is experiencing, he has to make sure that he goes back to the drawing board and pick himself up. Yes, he has to pick himself up because he was in the second. He is protecting his self-view. And because concept is organized, the way we look at ourselves, we are so organized. And we have a structured perception of ourselves. And when it is changed, because of other things and dynamism comes, based on the experiences and other shortcomings, we have to make sure that we go back to the drawing board and work on ourselves. Yes. Mary, that one is also helping you. So this boy has now to work on the dynamics. You can see that, eh?
Yeah, it's true.
Yes. Help him to work on the dynamics.
Thank
you. Thank you. I think we take a break. Let us take a small break. And I can see it is 8:15. We normally get 20, those are 15, but let us 8:25, 20 minutes kama kawaida. 8:25, no, 8:35. Because 8:30 is 15, 8:35. We'll be back here. Have a rest. Take a cup of water, a cup of tea if it's ready. You can even make one very fast so that you regain the energy. Then we meet then. Bye for now. We meet.